Blagging Whites by David Ashby. As a man of Dursley, I'd forgotten Leckhampton, out of sight, so out of mind, behind layered bulwarks. Haresfield Beacon, Robin's Wood, Cooper's and Finns's death knell, Chosen Hill. But on a day of long wet grass, my feet sought out its stony heights, after more than a decade to stare at Gurney's Devil's Stack. So many tracks and rabbit runs, boot dints, tire treads, horseshoe forgings moulded in fresh mud. So many birds and wild clouds tumbling, Malvern's fattened serpent roiled in silver light. Never a gazebo at the trig point. Arc-backed men were rehearsing the tricks of rejigging a limestone wall, and a piebald horse with feathered hoofs and female rider thundered by. Down precarious steeps we picked our way to the Wheatsheaf Wadworths. Behind the barman's mirrored pate, old photos of trains on the Tiddly Dyke, Leckhampton Station, Malvern Road. It all came rushing back, that time of smuts and steam, and the time, it is said, of the riots. This is where it all began, the plan, or maybe whim, to tear down Tramway Cottage. Here is where they met, those early protectors of Roma's rights. Old news perhaps, but news to me. Outside, replete with ale and onion tart, with saloon bar cheers still ringing. From under an A-board that advertised the rugby, I retrieved my soil-clogged boots. Just a tarmac tramp to the nearest bus route. Good old England had won again. A footnote. George Finzi contracted a fatal infection while walking here with Vaughan Williams. Gurney, another obsessive walker, wrote a poem, Leckhampton Chimney has fallen down. The Tiddly Dyke was the popular name for the Midland and South Western Junction Railway that connected Cheltenham with Southampton. The Devil in the Chimney by Annie Ellis. Dark, dank walls imprison him. Sunset glows through slits in stone. It's a long way up, and he can't lift the roof. There's no way out. He can reach each side, standing with arms outstretched. Long fingers touch rock, dirty fingernails scrape walls. Hammering and chiselling long ago drove him mad. He yelped, "Stop!" But was that the wind playing in their ears? A grinding noise going up and down the hill shook his cell, but it never fell apart. When are they going to release him? Who holds the key to the door? Where is the door? Many years ago he used to sit at the top of the hill, hurling stones at pilgrims travelling to prayer. Then they came, made him a prisoner. He touches the horns on his head, runs a hand down his tail to his arrow tip. Never let him out, never set him free. He must be locked in there forever. A Cheltenham Fantasy by Stuart Nunn. Between Bath Road and Old Bath Road, there must be things worth seeing. People with stories I'll never know. There might well be dragons, nests of hamadryads, vast maelstroms into which great chunks of Regency architecture have tumbled. I'm told a unicorn has been seen quietly grazing in Montpellier Gardens. I picture the vast savannas beyond the Prince of Wales Stadium, where lions and zebra roam, and struggle out their exotic lives, where savage customs of a defunct empire play out their rituals, to say nothing of the homespun folk who weave macrame wall hangings in Bishop's Cleeve or Charlton Kings, or the gingerbread cottage in Leckhampton, where lost children are cooked and eaten by the resident crone. I've never seen a woodcutter nearby, but I bet they're 10 a penny around Cheltenham. An extract from Virginia Woolf's diary by Belinda Rimmer. She amused me by saying that the streets of Cheltenham are notoriously unsafe. Foot passengers are perpetually killed by bicyclists. It is the rarest thing to motor through without being asked to take a corpse to the doctors. Virginia thought she might like to visit Cheltenham. The man who fetched the eggs had painted a vivid picture of the town. Bodies lying in the road and cyclists singing at the tops of their voices, not caring who they'd mown down, to drown out the cries of their dying victims. Perhaps she'd like a handcart with her become a collector of corpses in three-cornered musketeer hat and black lace blouse to honour the dead. The eggman had mentioned a shop, Cowell Frogmore House, on the tree-lined promenade. Would the trees shut out the light so that a twinkling sun could never be found? She'd tether her cart with its cargo, take tea at the house if they served refreshments. In a place like Cheltenham, perhaps a good cup of tea was more elusive than any old dead body. But hadn't she once gone to Cheltenham to take the waters, with their promise of a cure for disorders of the mind? On the way, though this seems foolish, she's certain of it, she'd encountered a goose riding motorbike sidecar. When her father taught her how to pedal the bicycle, she'd carried the cat in her basket out of respect to the goose, and because it made her laugh like a chimpanzee. Virginia had laughed all the air out of her lungs, causing the servants to panic. Was that before or after the death of her dear mother? It was before. Afterwards, only tears. In Cheltenham, maybe she'd forfeit a hand cart for a pair of goose wings, maybe fly into a tree on the promenade, find her smile inside a spiny seed pod, like a radiant horse chestnut. And yet the only exciting life is the imaginary one. You might like to pause this page and also this.